You finally meet someone who feels safe. They are kind, consistent, present. They are everything you have been asking God to bring. And something in you starts to panic. Not because they did something wrong, because they did everything right. And somehow that is the most terrifying thing of all. So you pull back. You go quiet. You pick a fight over something small. You convince yourself it is moving too fast, that something is off, that maybe this is not the right person after all. And then they pull away, and you want them back immediately. And you do not understand why you keep doing this. You do not understand why closeness feels like a threat when closeness is what you most want. This is fearful avoidant attachment, and it is the most misunderstood attachment pattern there is. Fearful avoidant attachment, sometimes called disorganized attachment, develops in a specific kind of early environment. Unlike anxious attachment, which usually forms from inconsistent love, or dismissive avoidant, which usually forms from emotionally unavailable caregivers, fearful avoidant attachment tends to form when the source of comfort was also the source of fear. When the person who was supposed to make the world feel safe was also unpredictable, frightening, or harmful. The child is left in an impossible bind. I need you, and you terrify me. Come close, do not come close. That impossible bind does not resolve when you grow up. It reorganizes around romantic relationships. You carry two competing drives simultaneously, a deep, genuine hunger for connection and a nervous system that treats intimacy as danger. The closer someone gets, the louder the alarm. And so you find yourself sabotaging the very relationships you have prayed hardest for. In Christian dating, fearful avoidant attachment shows up in some specific and painful ways. You may pursue someone for weeks with real sincerity. Then the moment they start to feel secure and reciprocate, something in you goes cold. You tell yourself it was infatuation. You wonder if you were ever actually interested. You put spiritual language around it. I don't think God is giving me peace about this. But if you look closely, the signal came right when the relationship started to feel real, not when anything actually went wrong. You may struggle with a chronic sense that you were fundamentally too broken for lasting love. That if someone truly knew you, the full version, the unfiltered one, they would leave. So you either reveal too much too soon as a test, or you keep people at a careful distance and wonder nothing ever gets off the ground. You mistake the absence of anxiety for the absence of attraction. If a relationship feels easy, your nervous system reads it as boring or suspicious. Intensity and uncertainty are familiar. Safety is not. In a faith community, fearful avoidant attachment can look like someone who is deeply passionate about God, but chronically resistant to spiritual community. Every small group gets too close. Every accountability relationship feels suffocating. You want the church to be family, and you leave before it can be. The same pattern in relationships shows up in every context. One of the most painful expressions of fearful avoidant attachment is what it does to prayer. You may find yourself praying desperately for a spouse, for connection, for love, and then when God begins to move in that direction, something shuts down. Fear disguises itself as discernment. Withdrawal disguises itself as wisdom, and the cycle continues. Pursue, get close, panic, withdraw, grieve, pursue again. Zephaniah 3:17 says that God rejoices over you with singing, that he quiets you with his love. For the fearful avoidant, this verse does something strange. It's comforting and threatening at the same time. Because being rejoiced over means being seen, and being seen has historically meant being hurt. That conflict, wanting God's nearness and fearing what nearness costs, is one the Spirit understands deeply and meets patiently. 1 John 4:18 says that perfect love drives out fear, not manages it, not works around it, drives it out. This is not a quick process, and it is not one you accomplish alone, but it is the direction healing moves. What does healing look like for the fearful avoidant? It starts with naming the pattern, not "I am difficult" or "I am broken" or "I am commitment phobic," but "I have two competing drives that are both trying to protect me, and they are now working against me." That reframe matters. You are not broken. You developed a survival strategy that kept you safe in a world where closeness was dangerous, but you no longer live in that world, and your nervous system has not been updated with that information yet. Healing requires learning to tolerate the discomfort of being known without exiting. This is slow work. It often involves therapy. It always involves honesty, first with yourself and eventually with the people close to you. It means learning to stay in the room when your instinct is to leave, not because the room is safe yet, but because you are beginning to build the capacity to find out. In dating specifically, healing means being honest when the fear spike happens rather than manufacturing a reason to leave. It means saying, "I notice I'm pulling back and I'm not sure why," rather than "I don't think God is in this." It means developing enough self-awareness to distinguish between a genuine red flag and your nervous system pulling the fire alarm in a building that isn't actually on fire. It also means choosing partners wisely. Fearful avoidant people often pair with anxious partners, creating a cycle where the anxious person's pursuit activates the fearful avoidant's panic, which activates the anxious person's fear, which activates more pursuit, and the cycle tightens. A more secure partner, someone who can hold steady without chasing and without withdrawing, gives the fearful avoidant nervous system something it has rarely experienced: proof that closeness doesn't have to end in pain. You don't have to figure this out alone. The God who created your attachment system knows exactly how it got tangled. He's not surprised by your panic when someone gets close. He's not frustrated with you for running. He's been patient with this particular version of your heart for a long time, and he will be for a long time more. He is not a love you will manage to push away. If this landed somewhere real for you, drop it in the comments. What does this pattern look like in your life? When do you notice the pull to withdraw? We read every comment, and more people than you realize are sitting with the same question. The next video in this series covers dismissive avoidant attachment, the style that has genuinely convinced itself it doesn't need people. That one is coming soon. And if you want to go deeper right now, the Bible and Boundaries Healing Journal has a full section on attachment, identity, and learning to receive love without running from it. 30 days of scripture and reflection, and it meets you exactly where you are. Link in the description. Use code WELCOME for 20% off. We'll see you in the next one.